Imagine someone looks at their hand and says, I don't know if this is really a hand. Philosophers have spent centuries worrying about that sentence. Maybe it's a dream, maybe it's an illusion, maybe an evil demon is deceiving you. But in the mid-20th century, Oxford, a group of philosophers responded differently. They didn't try to defeat the skeptic with a new theory. They asked, when do we ever use the word no like that? And from that simple question, a movement was born. Ordinary language philosophy. Earlier analytical philosophers, like Bertrand Russell, thought ordinary language was messy and misleading. Take Russell's famous example. The present king of France is bold. There is no present king of France, so what are we even saying? For Russell, philosophy's job was to clean language up, translate it into precise logical form. Ordinary speech was defective and needed repair. But another generation of philosophers began to suspect something radical. What if ordinary language isn't broken? What if philosophers are the ones misusing it? The turning point came with the later work of Ludwig Wittgenstein. In Philosophical Investigations, he argues that meaning doesn't come from hidden logical structure. It comes from use. Language works in language games, activities like promising, joking, apologizing, describing, and accusing. Words aren't mirrors of reality, they're tools. And philosophical problems arise when language goes on holiday, when words are ripped out of their everyday settings and forced into abstract theoretical roles. The solution? Bring them back. By the 1940s and 50s, Oxford became the center of this new style. Gilbert Ryle attacked Cartesian dualism by calling it a category mistake, treating the mind as a ghostly object inside the body. He said, it's like visiting a university, seeing the buildings, and then asking, but where is the university? J.L. Austin analyzed how we actually speak. In How to Do Things with Words, he showed that language isn't just about stating facts. When we promise, apologize, or declare, we're performing actions, speech acts. And philosophers like P.F. Strawson argued that clear, ordinary uses of words, like no, already undermine radical skepticism. In normal conditions, if you see your hand, of course you know it's a hand. The skeptic's doubt isn't wrong, it's out of place. It ignores how the word no actually functions in our lives. Ordinary language wasn't about building systems, it was about dissolving confusion. Instead of asking, what is knowledge in its pure essence, they asked, how do we use the word no? Instead of asking, what is the metaphysical structure of the mind, they asked, how do we talk about thinking, deciding, and attending? Philosophy became descriptive rather than theoretical, clarification instead of construction. By the late 1960s, formal logic, scientific philosophy, and new theories of semantics began to dominate. Critics called ordinary language philosophy trivial, too conservative, too obsessed with nuance, and its influence faded, but its impact remained. Speech act theory shaped linguistics. Pragmatics grew from its insights. Even contemporary philosophers will wrestle with its core ideas. That many deep problems may just be knots in our language. Ordinary language philosophy didn't promise grand metaphysical discoveries. It promised something quieter, that sometimes the way out of confusion is simply to listen more carefully to how we already speak.